Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Backpack Trader Training Room. Excuse me. For Thursday, August 25th, 2022. Please note the required risk disclosure. This room is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not to be considered financial advice. And there is substantial risk in trading futures, forex, equities, options, and crypto. And you should only attempt this type of trading with capital you can afford to lose. All right. Got a few minutes before market opens. Looks like we've got a possible get in sync long that's triggered in on the YM. So we'll watch for that around 9:30. Also have a get in sync possibility on soybeans. For crude this morning, this yellow trade 10 seconds after our start time went through way too fast to catch. 3 seconds to the first bar, just one more to the second bar. So you're 4 seconds, you're up through target 2 already. So that one's definitely too fast to have traded. This second trade is the magenta trade that's showing here is the D05 set up in the diamond level or SMS Spotlight Master Suite. That is the trade off of the proximity off to the 200 EMA. And that gave us plenty of time to get in and has easily gone through both targets, actually go through all 4 targets now. 15 and 24 ticks on the 2 targets. And we're now trailing up almost to target 4 at 95.59. I will go back and follow another trade for traders not using that trade. But if not, we would have been watching this up move that went from below the morning or the session open yesterday afternoon all the way up just shy 2 ticks from the session high. And it just stopped out at 59, rejected at the 75 cent level at 70, got to 74. So you had the session high at 76 and the quarter at 75. And here's your first trade otherwise, short at 49. And that triggered in. So that would actually be your first, if you didn't use this trade, that would be your first trade in the morning on crude oil. Unleaded was a bit easier to deal with. No surprises right at 9 o'clock. Our first trade was a long at 9:07, 9:07.18. And our first bar is 41 seconds, so plenty of time to get in that. It's doesn't matter if you're trading target 1 or target 2, it hits both. 62 ticks to target 1, 95 to target 2. and stops out at 6547 from an entry at 6478. So 69 ticks on the trailer. And the market is open. Now, the question is, nope, way too fast on soybeans on that first trade, so we'll look for a new trade. Short trade now, and that did trigger in. The YM trade didn't hit the stop without hitting the entry, so looking for a new trade there. And soybeans looking like it. Okay, we have a stop and reverse at 55.50, just triggered in. So back long, we saved a couple of ticks off a full stop. So the risk was 14, so we lost 12. Down 48. We need, and that's a full stop there as well. Soybeans having a tough time this morning. Sorry about that. All right, short on soybeans. YM still without a trade. And we have a 13 tick target one on this trade. We've got 12 ticks. And working down at near its session low at 42.75. And the Russell, if you start right at 930, this is the micro Russell on Catapult. And this is the 1.5 point custom Renko bar with a 0.5 point offset, or a 15 tick bar with a 5 tick offset. So it's on Unirenko, it's 5 tick open offset, 10 tick, 5 tick trend, 10 tick open offset, and a 25 tick reversal. Okay, we got an 8-second bar on that third bar. Possibly could have pulled back. Otherwise, that's a break even plus a tick or so. No other targets. The short is a break even also, it looks like. Not getting targets there. All right, crude blowing through targets 1 and 2 on the way down. So one and done, whichever way you played it. Just had to be patient for the gold level trades. Still short on soybeans. $17 and 28, 45 ticks on crude this morning. Or if you trailed, very nice trailer out all the way down to 95.16. Excuse me. Both trades with very good trailers. All right, target 1 achieved on soybeans and stopping out for 1 tick on the balance of the position, a balance of the trade. So we're looking for another trade number 4. And that's a squeeze zone. I'm sorry, not a squeeze zone, but a chop zone trade. Note the green dots down here. And the trade is gray against the 50 at that point. Possible long coming up on the YM. I'd like to see it up above the. There it is at 901. I'd put that up at 903 or 904. Get up above the 20 SMA. It was 902 at that point. So I would say 904, even though that's a minor key level. That's where I would have my entry on that trade, at that yellow line. All right. And yep, we just triggered into the YM. So the YM is long. We're done with crude. Done with unleaded. Let's check in on the. That's not what I want. I want the MNQ down here. So 34 8:34 start, 9:34 on my chart. Somewhere along in that bar, depending on where it was at our start time, even if we're definitely in the short. And it looks like a full stop out on the long. Most likely an avoidable trade on the short since it just spiked to the entry. And a second full stop on the long. Another short that just touched the entry and then went to the stop. Then we have a big long here that has not triggered in yet on the micro Russell. Long wick on that bar, so it's a big trade. And the only thing that cancels it, and that is a stop and reverse on the micro NQ. 6 seconds to the entry. That's very likely to be you're probably in that. Small. And the entry, given the size of those trades, would be at least 96. I'd say 96.50. I'd give it a full point. And getting a full stop out. Pound Aussie got in sync, actually had this long trade at, 7 o'clock. So it got in sync 8:30, right around here, meandered around. Now we've got a possible stop and reverse short, but that has not triggered in yet. That short is at 58, so it's going to go down to 54. Or actually, 50. Yeah, it should be 54. That would be a stop and reverse adjust plus the key level adjustment because it is a stop. So currently still in the long. We did hit the unadjusted entry, so that trade will remain in force unless we hit the stop. The normal two closes above the balance line will not cancel that trade. And the YM still meandering about. 20 SMA appears to be providing some support. All right, the Russell with a new short. The long never triggered. And we're definitely in it. We'll have to see where it goes. Kind of sideways price action right at the moment. On the YM, the Russell, and the MNQ. All right, the short on the MNQ. Yeah, short on the MNQ's hit the stop, but had not hit the target yet. Or I'm sorry, the entry yet. So it's still a valid trade. It's not going to be tracked. The calculator will not track it if it triggers on this bar, but that is still a valid trade. Soybeans going short. And the money management and target one is right at the session low, 42.75. All right, we're in the short on the MNQ. We'll have to track that ourselves. I've got the, sorry about that, folks. I had the comments covered up. William, I do have the D05 setup turned on. I do have the squeeze zone filter turned on. The gray trades, in fact, that's exactly what this gray trade right here is. It's a squeeze zone trade. I'm just presenting it with the filter. The long, let's see, long. Oh yeah, the long. That magenta trade is the D05. That's the 200 EMA setup. That's in the. It should be. That's in the SMS diamond level, or if you have the full, the old Spotlight calculator, the SL calculator. So it's not in the SPT, but it is in the SMS calculator. That's a D05. I find that trade works well most of the time. And it got me in and out this morning. In this case, got me done sooner than having to wait for the short. Either one worked in this case. But the squeeze filter is these gray trades, and the setting there is I just have get in sync trades, I believe, is the setting for that. Let's see, where is it? Okay, yeah, here we go. Filtered setup color. I have it set to dark gray. If you have it set to transparent, then the filtered trades will not show up at all. That may be where the difference is. So that would be G06. So take a look at that. If you're not seeing the filtered trades, but yeah, the gray trades for me are always, I like to see them, but that means they're filtered trades. So this is a squeeze zone filter, and this is the crossover filter. And see the 50 crossing over the 200, literally on that bar. So that's why that's filtered. And I wait eight bars. So this magenta bar is where that filter comes off, and see I get a long trade on the very next bar. But yes, that to answer that was your question a few days ago. Yes, I do run the D05 set up in the room here. That's the only difference that I know of from between mine and Troy's charts. All right, the YM hitting target 1 for 26 ticks. All right, the stop and reverse comes off. And we're actually still in the long trade back over here. That's on the pound Aussie, that is. Stop and reverse comes off. We did hit the stop. So we now have a new long trade, but we're actually still in the trade from back here at 7 o'clock. Bigger trade. So our money management level is just a pip difference, it looks like. So we'll be able to pick up the trailer from this trade once it comes through once the balance line comes through the current entry, but we'll have to track it up until that point. And the YM is still trailing. But yeah, William, I do run that D05 setup on both my crude and unleaded charts. Although it did not come into play this morning on unleaded. There's one right there. Bring us back to the MNQ. And we did take a full stop on that short. No trigger on the long. Nine seconds to the entry on the short. So that's going to be a full stop. So that's 1, 2. Okay, 2 full stops. So we can take the trade plan on this is 3 losses. And up to 6 trades, because these are both scalp type plans. All right, entry available into the long on the micro NQ. And the Russell picked up another break even. Unfortunately, got knocked out. Actually, not quite a break even, a very small loss. It didn't get our minimum for break even, but we did get enough to start trailing. And money management, we got at least our 11 ticks or break even on the MNQ. And let's see what happened. Looks like we stopped and reversed to long now for trade number 5 on soybeans. That would have been at 49.25, and we've just hit target 1 for 8 ticks. Actually, when that trade becomes that trade, we don't get the trade because it actually set up down here with and was filtered by the hybrid mode until the trend mode turned up, and we were well above the entry, so weren't able to catch that. You may have either marketed out there or you took the full stop, but the long trade is not a trade that we would be in, unfortunately. And the YM still trailing. 967 for the trailer. That's our one and done this morning. Big trade almost all the way to target 4 on the trailer now. And just missing, well, we hit target 2 on the MNQ, so there is a win. That's our scalp target. That's actually a pretty good sized target. That's a 28.5 points in this case. This being the 12 tick or the 12 point bar, 12.3 custom Renko, 12.36.84 is the setup. The trade plan is the same as the 6.2. This is just the 12.3 is one we've just been looking at. Just copied the 6.2 chart and changed the bar to a 12.3. All right. Also coming up on our 10 a.m. crude session. By the way, default colors on NinjaTrader will not be quite the same as what I'm running because I basically color match what Troy has on TradeStation, so that the charts are basically consistent between he and I as far as colors go. So that, if memory serves, I don't remember what the default color on that is for NinjaTrader. I know that this dark blue trade on my charts is a red, not pink, but actually a red trade by default as on the defaults on NinjaTrader. And And there is 10 o'clock trade, 94.91. On crude, and that just triggered in. Here is our current long trade on crude for the 10 a.m. mini session. MNQ through 4 targets and trailing nicely. This is a monster. And soybeans picking up trade number 5 is long now. If you're trading 5. YM up to 33.029 for the stop. Monster trailer on the YM this morning. And looks like crude made money management. So we bring the stop to 92. All right. Crude stop at 92. YM stop at 334. And the MNQ stop at 13.042.25. This big trade here on the MNQ. And we do pick up target 1 on soybeans. Stop now at 54.50. Our entry was at 54.25 and stopping out. And now we have a short on crude. crude stopping out for break even on the long, and now short and making its way toward money management. And target one, stop to 77. And target two. That was another 200 trade off the 200 SM EMA. So if you're not using that trade, you would have taken a full stop out. Actually, no, you'd taken the break even, but no trade going back the other way. That's going to be POQ. If you use that trade, we'll look for another trade, just like we did in the 9 a.m. session. Soybeans now with a short. Last trade of the morning, trade number 6. How fast was that? 26 seconds, so plenty of time to get into that trade. See if it makes its way through the 200 and the 50. Not. EMAs are sitting right there together. We'll see what happens. And the YM stopping out at 344 or 33,044 to end the morning session there. Still with our stop at 42.25 on the MNQ. All right, there's your trade. Short at 94.04. And a potential stop and reverse at 94.21. There's your stop and reverse entry. Still short. I will be so glad to be rid of this cough. All right, we survived the stop and reverse and coming very near the money management at 93.90. And it looks like we touched. Oh, no, let's see. We didn't quite make money management, and then there's a stop and reverse at 94.18. It did just trigger. Testing the 50 EMA. $14-tick loss for 14-tick risk, or 14-tick loss to the stop and reverse. That's 28 ticks on two positions. And missing money management by a tick again. Getting as high as 34, and money management is at 35. Actually, this would be trade number 4. It just hit target 1, so we shouldn't be trading this, but Looks like we just caught an entry on the long there. I missed that one earlier. So the stop and reverse would have been stop and reverse at 02. But it still would have been 91, 90 or 91. 90 for money management. We got as low as 91, I think. Yeah, we got as low as 91, missing money management by one tick. And stopping out on that last trade. Micro NQ did stop out. We're still in the original long trade on the pound Aussie. That one is slow mover so far. We've survived this stop and reverse. And looks like a target 3 on the micro Russell. Just starting to trail now, 56.8. I think I would probably make that a final trade on the micro NQ this morning. Interesting morning. All right, soybeans hitting all 3 targets on this last trade. 10, 16, and 22 ticks. And going to a stop at 48.50 from the entry at 53.50. So that's 5 points. Or 20 ticks on the trailer, plus 32.48 on targets. So 68 ticks on that one. Gets us back a whole lot closer than we were. This trade is the one that kind of hurt, because we basically took a full loss on that. 19 ticks. 4 positions is 76. Yeah, so we didn't quite get all of that back, but we got almost all of it back. So down 8 ticks from those last 2 trades. We were down 48 on the stop and reverse. Actually, yeah, that one was too fast. Then we have the short that stops and reverses at 50. That was our 12 tick. So we were down 48. And unfortunately, that one took a full loss as well. So that was down 18. Actually, that's down 20, so that's 80. 128. Trade number 3 was a 13, 16, 112. And trade 4 was the 76. So we were down 120 on the day on 6 trades. Sideways some part of the time and lots of movement others. So it's been an interesting morning. Any other questions? Questions or discussion? Pound Aussie still trying to make its way to money management. I would probably be inclined to leave my stop at 54, which ironically is a stop for the new trade. But that was also our stop in reverse. That cuts our risk a bit. It still gives this trade room to work itself out. And the Russell still got target 3 and has a couple of ticks on the trailer, but hasn't moved yet. Got a long, big wick on that bar. Tried to reverse, but not doing so yet. Micro NQ in a little bit of a consolidation, some back and forth there. YM in some consolidation. MNQ in a new long, if you're still trading there. And the Russell and the MNQ both setting new session highs. Russell going through target 4, stop now at 58.9, down at 59.4. Money management 76.75. On the MNQ. Yes, I did, William. I did. The Russell plan that I'm showing here is the the Renko Evening version 1, just for an example, it's the Catapult custom Renko bar. Neil, William, I did answer your question. The purple trades on my chart, excuse me, the purple or magenta actually trades on my chart are the proximity trade off the 200 EMA. That's the D09 setup that I have turned on. And I did have a couple of have a few filtered trades. This particular one is crossover filter here. That's the gray trades are the filtered trades. And that is, those gray trades are set in the filtered trade color down here at G06. Filtered setup color is dark gray. So that's how you know they're filtered. If you can make that transparent if you don't want to see filtered trades that you may want to get in sync with. But that magenta trade that I have on my chart is the D09 setup. And that setup this morning actually got us out of two sessions quickly. It was one and done this morning using that one. That is the 1.5 point by 0.5. It's if you look on the owner site, it's the Catapult M2K Renko Evening version 1 is the one that I'm showing, Neil. Which it's the 1.5 point 0.5 offset custom Renko. But that was the 9 a.m. trade. In that case, we had a trade that was almost as good on the pink trades. And we come to 10 o'clock. We get the long. That's break even. And then I immediately get the short that runs almost to target 4 again. Whereas if you don't use that setup today, trade number 2 was ticked in on the long, then stopped and reversed on the SMA short at 02. And that actually should have stopped out at 18 well, no, it's 20. The 21 didn't trigger. Then this 18 would have been your exit point. So you actually would have lost the last 2. So that would have made it. That was the positive session, and would have been a negative session with those last 2 trades. Otherwise. If in the SMA trade, this second long is avoided as a stop and reverse because it would have adjusted to 21. My second window showing the Unirenko setup. Which one are you looking at, William? Are you looking at the MNQ? The MNQ is bottom center. Okay, are you using which chart are you using? Are you using the 123684, or are you using the 81640? Okay. Oops, that's unleaded. Sorry. I'm using the same plan on on both of those. And I believe it's the same one. And the calc settings on both of them are the same. Because the 12.3 was just a look at chart that Troy started from just copying the 6.2. I can post those let you pull screenshots of those right now. This is that. See, I've still got the comments on it for the 8 tick, 8 trend, 16 offset, 40 reversal. But this is actually the calculator for the for the 36 tick, I'm sorry, 48 tick Renko, 12 point. So go ahead and, so yeah, the calc settings on both of them are the same because we hadn't done any, Troy had done some optimization on the 6.2, but we had just copied that chart to the 12.3 just to take a look at it. Let me know when you have the screenshot on the indicators. Okay, there's page 2. Page 3. Page 4. There's the colors that I'm using. I think those are pretty much standard. That's for catapult. And we're not using key levels for MNQ because it's a quarter point tick chart. And that's all key level settings, so you really aren't worried with that since we're not using them. And then, of course, the rest is pretty much and on this one, I haven't done anything to change things. Usually, one of the things I like to do is, you see, I like to use the up and down arrows for my entry indicators and the hash mark for my trailers. And this is where the plot section is where I change those. The long entry, active long stop, active short stop, active short entry and short entry are where I change the setups. Instead of a cross, I use a triangle up. In the case of a short, it'll be a triangle down. And I use like a 4-tick. Now, I actually I don't have a chart set up on NQ. The 12-point chart on a full NQ would be a monster. Because, yeah, on the slow and the fast setup, they're both on the MNQ. But, yeah, I'm using the same calc settings on, because the calc settings were originally, Troy originally generated those on the 6.2. That was a custom plan on the 6.2. And then we've looked at it in the trade room. We haven't actually tested it on the 12.3, but it looks fairly promising using with the same settings. You may would probably want to optimize the fixed target or maximum excursion on the 12.3 because it's down around, I think, just under target 3. Let's see. So, active short entry, then I would change to triangle down and 2 ticks. Active short stop, I just change it to hash. And do the same thing for the longs to go back and, yeah, see there's the triangles down for the shorts. And we'll have to, and see the stop now is a dash after the initial, and it would trail with that same hash. Those are just things I like to do for the way I look at the chart. It just makes it easier for me to pick things out. It's a pointer to tell me that the I really the only time I look at it has been in the trade room. I really haven't tested it. The plan, I think the plan that Troy originally tested was using targets 2, 3, and 4. So you can use any one of them, and using the fixed target as a maximum excursion. So you can let it trail to that. Yeah, target 2 definitely on either chart is a good take profit point, because this is, although the 12.3 is a pretty big chart, it's primarily a well, that was what Troy had tested basically because on the 6.2, if we look at the 6.2, look at where that is relative. I mean, it's up here compared to target 4 there. That's a 39-point runner, which is pretty strong. But that's something you're going to would need to test. Yeah, you can, and that's where your own testing you'd want to work with that. See whether that's more profitable or just letting things run is more profitable. Is it going to hit more of those? Enough more of those that the typical stop is hit below that and give you a better, I don't know. that's, as I say, that's what the testing that Troy had done, and I haven't looked carefully at that. But that, as I say, that was on the 6.2. What we've been looking on the 12.3, I definitely would leave it trail on the 12.3, because see, here's that 39 points, 156 ticks. So it would have been better off on this one with the trailer. But that's just what you have to. That's something you have to test. I have not tested that because that's not a market that I typically trade. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, the what target 2. This is a pretty typical trade. It's 28.5 point target at $2 a point. So that's what 50. That's almost $60. The problem, William, with that is there are literally 3 different workspaces, because I'm running the SL calculator, which wouldn't help you at all with the SMS calculator. That's the trick. So I literally have to make one for the SMS calculator, one for the SPT calculator, and one for the old SL calculator. Yeah, I understand, but because there are 3 different, and the same is true for the TradeStation stuff. Actually, there's the original Spotlight calculator there that Troy still uses quite a bit. There's the SPT cal and the SMS. So we actually end up having 3 different workspaces for each of the platforms. I am trying to squeeze out time to put that together. It just takes a while sometimes to get all the pieces the same on all of them. I understand. Actually, as a platinum member, unless you're an old Spotlight, unless you have the old Spotlight from the NetPix days, that's the SL calculator that I'm actually running here. I haven't transitioned to the SMS because there's actually a couple of things in the old SL calculator that I like, that are actually one thing that I like having that's not in the new the new SPT and SMS. Yeah, so you wouldn't be able to use the workspace that I'm actually using here on the Spotlight stuff. Now the Catapult stuff, yeah, no problem. Catapult, and let's see. Yeah, I think you would be able to use, because I'm running the full counterpunch. That's just what soybeans is on. I'm running full counterpunch, the old SL calculator for Spotlight, and of course the Catapult stuff is pretty much all the same, except there's, well, let's see, both of those. No, those are actually 2 different calculators for the Russell and the MNQ. Because unfortunately, it's not a matter of just copy and paste. I actually have to build each one from scratch because it's a different calculator. Right, and I understand. Believe me, from 2 days in the room trying to make my eyeballs go to 6 different charts at a time, I do certainly understand that you don't want to focus on more than one at a time. My typical trade day setup is crude at 9 a.m. or actually pound Aussie at 8, starting at 8:30. And speaking of pound Aussie, it's hit target 1 and money management. So stop moves. I'll be right back with you. I've got to take care of my trade, move my stops to break even, and attach them to the order so I can act. That's one of the things I really like about NinjaTrader is, especially when I'm doing the room, once something hits money management, I can attach the orders to the trailing indicator, and I don't have to move the trailing stop every time. I can keep talking to y'all. So that's good. Yeah, that's a good London Open, and of course the possibly the Frankfurt Open would be two good possibilities. On SMS, it's the active. Let me show you which one it is. Yeah, look in the plots, and it's the LX and SX. They're separate. No, I'm sorry. It's the trail. The trail is the indicator you pick up on Spotlight. Trail on Spotlight. It's the same for longs and shorts, which is why I don't activate it until I hit money management, because if you activate it initially and you get a stop and reverse set up, as soon as the stop and reverse uh, triggers in, it's gonna, or if you're not using the adjustment, then it's gonna, if it happens to trigger the unadjusted, it's gonna stop you out, because the first bar that closes with that trail is gonna pull your stop from where it is up to the other side, and it's going to stop out on the close of that first bar. But yeah, the one you want to attach to is the trail on SMS, and on Catapult it's going to be the act. I believe it's the act. You've got two: active short stop and active long stop. And that similar on Counterpunch. Yes. See, you got active long stop and active short stop. So depending on whether you're long or short, is you attach to one of those two. On the Counterpunch, it's LX and SX. Short. That's your active short stop, active long stop. long and short trail, but those are the indicators you'd pick up. All right, looks like stopped out. Oh shoot. Yeah, it stopped out on the pound Aussie. So we got target one, but that's a one and done session. Took a while. Got in sync at 8:30 and it just ended at 10:50. So that's why I don't mind having it running beside other things, but I normally start that at 8:30, crude at 9. And then if I'm not when the days I'm not doing the room, I'll try to do the YM at 9:30. Although I'm going to take a look at some of the new Russell charts we're looking at. Great. William, let's see. My email is there you go. You too. Not evening for me. It's still just 11 o'clock in the morning. And I'm on the East Coast. For Troy, it's 10 minutes till 8 since he's on the West Coast. It's very much morning at this point. Yeah, I have a lot of respect for Troy because looking at where he's located on the West Coast, he's getting up and he's in here at 6:30 in the morning his time for the trade rooms, the normal trade room that he does. He's starting his trading when he does crude at 6 a.m. his time. So you have to respect him for where he is on that one. The commitment that he has to his users. And he's been doing trade rooms for something like 18 or between 18 and 20 years now. That's a major commitment. I started off doing this room. I was in Central Time. So it was 8:30 a.m. start for the rooms, 8 o'clock for the crude plans, but nothing like 6 a.m. or 6:30. All right. A lot going on this morning. Hope everybody had a good one. Hope everybody learned something. Unless there are further questions, I will see everybody tomorrow. You're quite welcome, Pamela. Thank you very much. Miles, you too. Everybody have a wonderful weekend. As far as I'm aware, regular schedule next week. And we'll see everybody on Monday. Good weekend, good trading tomorrow.